All right, hello. I don't know about you, but I carry a lot of stress and tension in my shoulders. And I'm guessing we're all feeling a little bit extra stressed. So I thought I would share some of the ball rolling for shoulders that I was doing with my kinesiology class way before the spring break because we were learning the muscles of the scapula and shoulder. So I thought this is a little self-care therapy all of us could use. So I'm going to take the ball in my left hand and I'm going to start with you working on the shoulders, the muscles of my right shoulder. So I'm going to start, if you know where your shoulder blade is, you can kind of feel a little edge, little edge. We're going to start with that inner corner just inside of it and above it. So I'm getting into the upper trapezius and the levator scapula a little bit. So I'm going to take my ball, I'm going to find that point there. So I'm not on the spine, I'm not on the scapula, I'm in between and a little bit above. And I'm going to plie, bend my knees into a little squat to walk my legs away so I can get a little bit of pressure in towards the wall. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to let my arms hang. I'm going to go, actually I like the resting them on my thighs. I'm just going to go up and down a little bit. And it's up to you to figure out where you feel like maybe the good spot is. We're looking for that spot when somebody rubs your shoulders and they dig their thumbs in and they find that little pressure point. In shiatsu it's called pressure points. And so you're just going to try and find that and go up and down. You can also go a little bit side to side. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of movements with the arm and scapula to target these muscles a little bit more with the ball behind there. So the first thing, let's go ahead and raise our arm up towards the ceiling and back down. And again, shoulder flexion and back down. And shoulder flexion, and back down. And then if you want to get a little bit more onto the top of it, you can start to go down a little bit further and you can angle so that I'm trying to dig in there a little bit. I'm just going to rub a little bit more there. Go up and down. Maybe a little side to side. Okay, all right. I'm going to move the ball to where my middle trapezius and rhomboids are. So I'm going a little bit between the shoulder blade and our spine. All right, so in the middle there, I'm going to stay on the right side. And if you have the ball against the wall, what you can do is you can put your hips against the wall and just let the ball drop a little bit just to help and make sure it doesn't go all the way to the floor, and then walk your legs back up. And then now we're just going to go up and down. So we're a little bit lower. We're still on the right side of your back. And then again, let's take the arm into shoulder flexion and extension, shoulder flexion and extension, and one more time shoulder flexion and extension. All right, we're also going to do a little bit of AD and abduction of the scapulae. So with your fingertips reaching forward, reach away so the shoulder blade spreads a little bit further away from the spine. And then think of squeezing your shoulder blade towards the spine into adduction. So reach the fingertips away and then try and squeeze the shoulder blade back and in. Reach your fingertips away and then squeezing the shoulder blade back and in. One more time. Reach your fingertips away. Squeeze the shoulder blade back and in. and release. Woo, I felt something there. All right, I'm gonna move the ball a little bit lower. If you can, take the other hand behind just to help catch it a little bit and move it a little bit further down. I'm gonna move it extra further down and then walk my legs further away. So now I'm towards the bottom corner of my shoulder blade. I'm still between the shoulder blade and the spine, so I'm not on any bones right now, but I'm getting a little bit more into the lower trapezius muscle. All right, so once again, we're going to raise the arm up and then back down. Raise your arm up and then lower it back down. Third time. And lower back down. And now we're going to go into shoulder A, B, and A deduction. So again, fingertips reach away so the shoulder blade feels like it spreads further away from the spine, and then squeeze your shoulder blade back and in. Reach your fingertips away, and then think of shoulder blade drawing back and in towards the middle of the spine. Reach your fingertips away, and then draw your shoulder blade back and in towards the middle of your spine. One more time, reach your fingertips away and draw your shoulder blade back and in towards the middle of your spine, and release that. All right, I'm gonna go back to the top and just see if it feels any different. But I'm gonna, once again, where we started, I'm gonna do a little bit of up and down, a little bit of side to side. And we didn't do much, but I'm already feeling a little bit of a difference from when we first started. So that's a good sign for me today. You might need to do it a little bit longer. And then I'll also, whenever I talk about myofascial release, it's up to you to determine the intensity. So if I want more intensity, I'll probably go a little bit lower into a deeper squat. My legs will come further away, and I can push into the wall more that way. If I want less intensity, I'll come up a little bit, almost up to standing, and I'll just kind of lean easily into the wall and maybe do some demi-pliés or a little bit side to side. All right, first time, if this is the first time you've done this, don't go to the deepest, most intense sensation first. Dancers, we like sensation, so sometimes we go to the extremes of it. So I would suggest that you start a little bit more on the conservative side and see how that goes, and then you can always do another session another time and go a little bit deeper into the muscles. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit into my neck muscles because my neck muscles have been a little bit tight here. So I'm just gonna go a little bit to the outside. I'm not adding a lot of pressure. So this is a lighter pressure that I'm doing for the muscles in my neck. I'm not on the spine. I'm a little bit to the outside of the spine. And then I'm just gonna find, I'll show you here where it is. So it's kind of near that pressure point, but maybe a little bit above it. And then I'm just going to tip my head side to side. I'm going to turn it. I'm just going to see if there's somewhere in those actions that I feel a little bit more tightness. I'm feeling it. There. If I turn my head to the same side it's on and I look up, extending, hyperextending the neck. Ooh, okay, I figured it out. All right, take that away. Place your ball down. Let's do a little somatic check-in. So just take a moment, stand with feet parallel, with your feet fairly close together. I suggest heels underneath your sits bones. If it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, you can do so, or you can just drop your gaze towards the floor. Either way, direct your attention inward to sensing, trying not to judge, but just notice how the shoulder that you just rolled, if it feels, just notice how it feels. Notice if it feels different than the other shoulder. And if your eyes are closed, flutter them open. If you're looking down towards the floor, bring your gaze back up. And we'll do the other shoulder. So I'm going to flip to this wall. I'm going to adjust the camera angle just a little bit so that you can see the ball a little bit more clearly. It's very empty in these hallways. I miss seeing all of you. All right, so ball is going to go to the top. So I'm going to just feel where that scapula, the spine of the scapula is. I'm going to go towards the inner corner edge and inside that and a little bit above. So on my upper trapezius, I'm going to bend my knees already, place it against there, and then I'm going to settle into a mini squat. And then I'm just going to go up and down a little bit. You may want to experiment with if you go the ball a little bit more closer to the shoulder blade or a little bit closer to the spine. I find somewhere in the middle or closer to the shoulder blade is a little bit more effective for my body. So up and down. You can also go a little bit side to side. And then with the ball in this position, we did raising the arm and lowering it, shoulder flexion extension. So raise your arm and then lower it back down. Raise your arm and lower it back down. And I'm doing this hopefully in a smooth, controlled way. Raise your arm and lower back down. And then I also just mentioned in this position here, if you want to try and get more to the top of it, you can turn into it a little bit, walk further away. Whoa, let's do this a little better. There. And get a little bit more to the top edge. That's really targeting your upper trapezius. And you can go up and down there, and a little side to side. This side is really tight on me. Keep breathing fully, taking an inhale and an exhale, and then coming up out of it a little bit. All right, now we'll go targeting the middle trapezius and the rhomboids a little bit more. So that's between the shoulder blades. So this is, if I go here, it's going to be up near here. So I'm going to do it this arm here. Walk my legs away. I'm going to go a little bit up and down. Again, you can either be slightly closer to the shoulder blade. I find that's a little bit more effective for my body. You could also go towards the spine, but then you're mainly getting more into the erector spinae or targeting them. So that's why I feel being closer to the shoulder blade is targeting the muscles that squeeze my shoulder blades together into adduction. So I'm going up and down a little bit. And now we're going to raise and lower the arm. So raise the arm into shoulder flexion, lower it, shoulder extension. Again, raise into shoulder flexion, lower into shoulder extension. One more time, raise your arm, lower your arm. All right, now reach your arm forward. We're going to go into abduction and adduction of your scapulae. So reach your fingertips forward. The shoulder blade hopefully will spread wider away from the spine, and then draw your shoulder back and try and squeeze the shoulder blade towards the spine. Reach your fingertips away. Ooh, this is really naughty. Squeeze towards the wall and in. Reach your fingertips away. Squeeze the shoulder blade back and in. Let's do one more on the side. Reach your fingertips away. Squeeze back and in. And then release that. All right, now we're going to go a little bit lower. So we're going to try and target more the lower trapezius. So the bottom corner of my scapula is there. So I'm going to go a little bit, just a tiny bit below it and a little bit in. So I'm finding that position. I'm going to take my little squat. Ooh, I'm in a really deep squat today. A little bit more pressure. Okay. Here we are. I'm going to come up a little bit. That's a little too intense. There we go. Ooh, okay, I feel this on this left side today. We're going up and down a little bit. So I just came up a little bit to decrease the pressure. I'm going to decrease it a little bit more because this side is really intense for me. So I'm going to just make that accommodation. All right, raise and lower your arms. So the arm is going to raise and it's going to lower and raise and lower and raise and lower, and then reach your arm forward. Reach your fingertips forward so shoulder blade widens out, and then draw your shoulder back and squeeze the shoulder blade in towards the spine. Reach your fingertips away, abduction of the shoulder blade. Squeeze your shoulder back, adduction of the shoulder blade. Reach your fingertips away, abduction of the scapula shoulder blade. Squeeze the shoulder blade, squeeze the scapula towards the midline of the spine, and then release it. All right, I'm going to go back up to the top one more time. Maybe a little bit has released, hopefully, on this side. This side tends to be a little bit tighter on me in general. So I'm just going to go back up to that original pressure point. And there's a little bit of a difference. It's not huge. It's, not night and day, but there is a little bit of a difference. It's a little bit more released because we did all through the upper, middle, and lower trapezius. And because we know that everything's connected through the fascial web. All right, and then I'm going to go into a little bit for the neck that I did earlier. I'm going to come up a little bit because I don't want to be too intense with this. I'm going to bring the ball a little bit up, but it's still to the outside of my spine, very clearly. And I'm just going to just lean into the wall. You can go up and down a little bit. You can go a little bit side to side. And then I'm going to play with a little bit of turning my head side to side. I'm going to play with maybe looking up and down with my head turned to the left. And I'm going to turn my head to the right and look up and down. Okay, what I'm sensing today is that when I turn to the left and look down, that's where I feel like I'm targeting a little bit more specifically a spot that feels extra tight on mine. So you can play around with all these head. Don't go extreme. Don't hit your head against the wall. All right, but just some gentle back and forth, up and down. Feel it there. And back. All right, come away from the wall. Go ahead and release your ball onto the floor. We'll just do our little somatic check-in. So come take an easy parallel stance. And then just take a moment, either close your eyes or drop your gaze towards the floor. Bringing your awareness a little bit more internally. And just noticing how your shoulders feel. We didn't do a check-in at the very beginning, but we did one in the middle. So in particular, maybe noticing how the left one feels since we did the check-in before on that and now afterwards. Flutter your eyes open or lift your gaze. And you may not feel completely released, you may not feel even, one side still may be a little bit tighter than the other, but these are some tools you can use for yourself, for self-care, and I hope that you got something out of them you can take with you today. All right, thanks, bye.